Doctor Who introduced the mysterious Mrs. Flood in the 2023 Christmas special, and one theory suggests her first name could also reveal who she is. Played by Anita Dobson, Mrs. Flood is a character who clearly knows much more than the average human in the Doctor Who universe. Among the questions about her are how and why she winked down the lens at the end of The Church on Ruby Road, and how she could identify the Doctor's TARDIS by name. When Dobson returns to the Doctor Who Season 14 cast or beyond, the show could include a name-related revelation. With Doctor Who's pantheon wreaking havoc with the fabric of reality, it can be easy to forget the enigma that is Anita Dobson's Mrs. Flood. Her demeanor immediately raised questions after her Doctor Who debut in late 2023, with the story seemingly moving on from her quickly after her introduction. Little is known for sure about the character of Mrs. Flood, but the history of Doctor Who can be used to formulate a convincing theory about who Anita Dobson is actually playing. Mrs. Flood's first name could be Carol, which would make her a regeneration of River Song. Carol Flood fits the formula of another River Song alias. There's a Doctor Who naming convention that means the character boasting one of a particular set of titles is actually River Song. Granted, the trend is only currently comprised of 2 names, but Mrs. Flood's surname meets 50% of the criteria. In Doctor Who Season 6, Episode 7, A Good Man Goes to War, it's explained that River Song's name is actually a mistranslation of Melody Pond, revealing River as a future regeneration of the daughter of Amy Pond and Rory Williams. Both Melody Pond and River Song are comprised of pre-existing English words that both reference water and music. Mrs. Flood's surname ticks the water box, so a name like Carol would mean the musical criterion is also met. River Song's Doctor Who timeline is unique, as she dies in her first appearance in Doctor Who Season 4 and progresses to know the Doctor less and less every time they meet. So, while Alex Kingston's River Song is currently understood to be the third and final iteration of the character, Anita Dobson's Carol Flood could fall somewhere else within the character's continuity. Mrs. Flood being River Song would explain her TARDIS knowledge in the Christmas special. Anita Dobson's character is usually knowledgeable about the Doctor's ship. Anita Dobson looking suspicious as Mrs. Flood in the Doctor Who 2023 Christmas special. Mrs. Flood knew about the TARDIS in The Church on Ruby Road. Not only was she not confused by the presence of the iconic blue box, but the fact she could see it at all suggests she isn't susceptible to the TARDIS perception filter. This would seem extraordinary for a regular human character, but if Mrs. Flood is actually a regeneration of River Song, then the revelation becomes more expected than surprising. River has traveled in the TARDIS many times and can even pilot it more effectively than the Doctor, so it would make sense that she isn't bewildered. Mrs. Flood also seems fully aware that Ruby is about to embark on a huge adventure when she bids her farewell at the end of The Church on Ruby Road. Rather than warning Ruby to stay away from the strange box in the street, she merely tells Millie Gibson's character, "Good luck, Ruby." Mrs. Flood also watches with a straight face as the TARDIS vanishes before her eyes during the episode's post-credit scene. Her complete comfort with the situation is highly indicative of someone who has a strong history with the Doctor, which River Song does.